What's going on, Prop Nation? It is another Tabak and Tech Tips Sunday, powered this week by Stock Coffee, cold brew coffee. Now, since I'm on my intermittent fasting diet, I'm on the Stock Unsweet. If you want some good cold brew coffee, not bitter, not harsh, Stock is definitely your go-to. So, during the video, you may hear some pounding going on. The electricians are out finishing up. Yeah, they're actually working on a Sunday. A lot of construction down here since Hurricane Ian. But they're building the new lounge, so they're wiring that up today. And something happened yesterday when they were out. They started yesterday, finishing today, which was partly my fault. Another thing was their fault. And then it brought me back to the shop last week of kind of the same thing going on. So they got everything wired up, and they didn't ask, but I wasn't specific about where I wanted some switches to be. Now everything is ran. It's done. Like, there's no, without, I'm not paying. It'll be hundreds of dollars to unmistake where those switches are be. So, because I didn't specify when I told them my office, there's like a little door, there's not a wall there. That's the humidor. The switches for the lights in my office should be on the other side, about 15 feet away. So now I've got to walk completely through my dark office to turn on my lights. I will fix that myself with a remote control later on. It is what it is. I can't fix that, and I don't want to pay to have it fixed, because that was my fault. Another problem, which they didn't write down, my two exhaust fans to exhaust the smoke out. I happened to be noticing after they left, and I'm like, oh, they got these on one switch. They should be on two switches, so I can run one fan either side of the lounge, or flip them both on and run both. So, and I'm like, hey, this needs to be, I didn't even bring up the other thing because I didn't want them to either feel obligated to repair it at their cost, be out here several more hours on a Sunday. Like I said, I'll deal with it. I got to fix, so whatever. But the exhaust fan thing, I'm like, we talked about this, though I didn't have it specifically marked, because I marked on all the rafters where everything is going. So that was their fault, so they're going to fix that today. Leads me back to our Tech Tip Sunday. Several times last week, and over the course of the last few weeks, though, we've been getting a lot of comebacks for noises and things like that. One, for instance, customer complaining of a sound coming out of his vehicle. He relays that to the sales associate to the service manager to the technician. Some things get written down. Technician takes it for a drive. Left front wheel bearing, screaming. It's just loud. Okay, there's the customer's noise. Get the approval for the part. Big Suburban. It's like a $600 bearing. Customer leaves, calls back. The noise is still there. So comes back. I take it for a spin. Zero noise. Nothing at all. Get a little more information from the customer. Got to take it a little faster. And in certain conditions, something inside the transmission's making noise. Horrific noise. Something we didn't catch on a test drive because we didn't perform these certain parameters. So now the customer's got a big job ahead of him, job that we can't do. He'll have to take to another shop. He's a little perturbed because he didn't notice the wheel bearing. But luckily, we still had the wheel bearing. We're able to move. I mean, just grinding, had a little bit of play. So he was okay with that. Okay to a point. I understand why he's a little irritated. Same thing on a little minivan, customer complaining of a noise. I take this one for a test drive myself. It's got a broken bushing on a rear shock. It's making a clunk. Customer's complaining of a loud noise. That's a clunk. I didn't speak with the customer. It was intermediary. We recommend a set of shocks. take it for another test drive. Technician does the work. I take it for a test drive. I'm still light duty because of my knee, by the way, which is hurting a lot today. Customer comes back. That's not the noise she's hearing. After some further diagnosing, some specific test drives, something loose was in the tailgate, so it is what it was. We tore it all apart, and it was the latch inside that was just clinking around. And how she didn't hear the shock was mind-boggling. I mean, the bushing was missing. It was broken, so luckily we had the shock. We explained to her what went down. Now, there have been times that we're not able to do that. Customer complains of a noise. Generally always Chrysler minivan front end noise. And there are times where, like, listen, these are known for this distinct noise that you're hearing. These are known for struts. You'll replace a set of struts, still makes a noise. You can't show a customer on a strut. The customer's mad, and that's why, as we go with MAP guidelines, Motorist Assurance Program, we're not supposed to recommend, even if a customer comes in and is like, hey, I want a starter replaced. We test it. There's nothing wrong with the starter. We can't put it in. It goes against MAP guidelines. It's got to be bent, broken, leaking, something wrong with it. There's a whole host of things that we can use to justify a repair or not. So sometimes we can't recommend something because we can't physically know what's wrong with it, or we can't see what's wrong with it. Noises, things like that, really, you need to be specific. My recommendation, leave a note, say, hey, please, because you never know what technician's going to work. So you can't say, hey, let's go get a technician. That guy may not even be there when your car pulls in. Maybe he's on lunch. So my recommendation is have your service writer leave a note. Try and be as specific as possible. I love the people that type up something in like Word and bring that in and be like, give this to the technician, because they know that things get lost in translation. But yeah, I would leave a note. Hey, can you have the technician please call me before he pulls this in, so I can give him a little bit more info about what's going on with the car. Like I said, we love our sales associates. They're good, but our shop is busy, and I've been at fault as well of not making an appropriate note on an invoice, and technician gets the car on a vehicle inspection, and they're like, hey, got this thing tore apart, like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, crap, forgot to tell you, you need to take it on the road with some bumps between 55 and 62, and then hit the brakes slightly. And it's like, I didn't have time. I did have time, but I chose not to make time. Line of customers, phones ringing. I'm like, oh, I'll remember. I'll print the ticket up. I'll put it right here. I'll remember. And I don't. It's rare that I don't remember to make that note, but it happens. But if you tell especially if it's something very specific, if it's just brake noise, it's just brake noise. We'll figure that out. But if you're bringing it in for a very specific reason, definitely, and that leads me, you bring it in. Don't tell your wife or your husband. Usually it's the wife that brings it in. I don't know. My husband said it's making a jangling sound. When is it doing it? I don't know. I don't hear it. You don't hear it. Well, if you don't hear it, how am I going to hear it? How am my guys going to hear it? So that, like I said, if it's a specific noise, you need to be the one to bring it in, or you need to tell your husband, or wife, either way, make sure that you have the phone ready for that technician to call you, so you can explain exactly what's going on. Help us help you. Help you help us. Together we can get your vehicle fixed right the first time, and that's what we promise at Tires Plus and Firestone Complete Auto Care. Fixed right the first time. We definitely strive. Noises, things like that falls through the cracks, but we do. So this has been another Tabak and Tech Tip Sunday, powered by Stock Cold Brew. We'll see you next week.